What's up, guys? So I actually haven't recorded my trading for quite a while. That's because I took a full time job, and so I've been doing a lot of trading on my laptop, which is a lot underpowered compared to my PC. So I can't trade and run OBS at the same time. So that caused some issues, but now that I have a pretty good work schedule, I can do some trading at home. And so on the days that I do, I'm going to do some recording. One of the things that I've been playing around with of late is to take smaller position sizes, although I kind of cheated a bit today. But basically, what I try to do nowadays is not take more than 500 shares. I find out that part of my one of my bad habits is I number one overtrade like most people do, and the other thing is I take sizes that sometimes are too big, and it's not a good risk mitigation type of strategy. So that's what I've been doing of late is taking smaller share sizes. Although I did violate that rule today. So ignore everything else on the bottom that's all zeros and whatnot. Those are some of the long term swings that I am doing. So just focus on here. So positive 218, although I did take 48 tickets, which commission wise probably come out to be about 65 bucks. So take 218 minus 65, and that's sort of my take home for the day. So let's just go over some of the trades here. I did a few trades on AMD. Let's see. So for this, AMD. Five minute. I traded a few times. So I went short initially, 500 shares. Went down, and when it was going up, I just exited. And then I shorted it again, and then I covered on the way down, and I covered on the way back up. It's kind of a choppy day today, and then I went long here. One of the reasons is I preempted this, seeing how strong it was, that this moving averages will cross the exponential moving averages will cross the simple moving average, which is I set those at 50 and 200. Didn't happen, so I got stopped out, and then I went short again, and then I got stopped out again. After which I basically reversed my trade. So I went long, seeing that it's very strong movement upwards, and I was rewarded with a pretty big run because I knew if it wasn't going to go short, then chances are it's going to run towards VWAP, which is exactly what it has done here. So I went long and pretty much made back the money that I lost in these two instances. When I went short, when I went long, I was wrong. When I went short, I was wrong. So I corrected myself and pretty much made up for that loss there. And then I took a short position. So AMD was not kind to me today. Went short again. Instead of covering here, because I thought it was going to continue to go down towards maybe the low of the day, it didn't do that. It went up, and then this time I covered before it broke away from me, which was a good move because otherwise it's a pretty big run there. So I was proud of myself for being able to stop myself out. Overall, I think, as you can see here, I made on that run, I actually made more than my loss. So even though I was wrong twice, the one time that I was right, it was more than enough to cover for my loss. So that was that for AMD. For JD, I lost money on JD. I went long, and I think it didn't do what I thought it would. So I covered it. Let's see. So I went long. I was hoping it would continue to go up. It did not. It dropped. So I basically closed my my position on that. I wanted to see how high it would go, but then when it formed this double top, I knew it was gonna just drop on me. Oh wait, hold on. So this is where it was. So let's see here. So I went long. It went up a bit, so I exited, and then I shorted the stock because I preempted this. Thought it was going to cross over. Instead, it did not. It popped up, so I covered. It continued to move up. When it did the double top, I shorted the stock, but instead of covering down here, I was hoping it would go all the way down to VWAP. Did not do that. It jumped on me, and then I basically exited before it made another run. It was a very strong stock this entire day. I tried to play it again once more. Went short. Didn't really do anything, so I basically exited at break even. So that was JD. Lost $50 on it. MU was the only stock that was good to me, but I also kind of cheated on this, and I'll explain why in a bit here. I guess my first trade on this stock was a long. Oh no, it's a short. I did the opening range breakout. So, breakdown, I mean. So I went short, 5 minute, it's very weak still. It's right near the VWAP here. So this is actually what Andrew Z teaches. VWAP is good risk to reward because if it pops up above VWAP, I would have gone out. So it's right below VWAP. I went short. It corresponds to the 5 minute. There's also this, previous day number here. So I went short. Once it broke this, I covered some. It broke those moving averages. I broke those previous day close, and so I started to cover more. And when it started to show signs of a reversal, I basically covered the rest here, and I just didn't sit through this, even though it continued to drop lower. So I missed that run, but I was playing it safe. Later on, I saw that it was going to here. It was actually making a very strong move. It was extremely strong up here. Again, I preempted this. It's probably not a good thing for me to do, actually. I should have waited for it to go. But although if I did that, I would have missed this entry. But, should have waited for it to cross. But I preempted it just a bit, went long, and I covered the rest here. I think I was kind of struggling here for a while. Usually what happens is when I see something struggle, I tend to favor getting out. And then I completely missed this run here. Should have stayed longer, but I was kind of nervous, and I wanted to protect my profits. So I basically exit a bit too soon. Should have had some left on the table for this run, but instead I saw it was struggling at this level. You saw it hit that level, and then sort of bounce around. It bounced around there for a whole minute. Usually when that happens, it means it's probably going to go back down. But instead this time it actually popped through and went all the way up. So I missed that run there. And then I played it two more times. One more time. So I went short here. And the reason for that is because, let's see what it does on the 5 minute. So on the 5, you can't see the 15 minute, but 15 minute, it was basically holding the level pretty well. And so it didn't really go above this moving average. So basically that's what I was waiting for, is to see if it would break this. If it did break this moving average, and then the exponential moving averages are curving up, I would have exited. Instead, it sort of just held that level and it was always below this, and I saw that this was coming down. Usually what happens is this would push all the numbers down. It's such a strong long-term average, that oftentimes what happens is if this slopes down, all these tend to slope down, and then it would either break through and then reverse, or it will continue a downward trajectory. I think in this case, it sort of continued the downward trajectory. So I watched it. It's really ready to exit. But instead, it just sort of never broke through this level. And then when I saw that it didn't break through and it was actually going down to where my entry was, and it was basically holding the entry level. So there was, for whatever reason, there seems to be strong buying pressure here. Every time it drops, it gets bought back up, but then it suddenly went below that, and so I added 500 to my position for a total of 1,000 shares, breaking my rule. And then as it dropped, I start to cover, and then when it recovered, I covered the remainder. And as you can see, that was actually a good idea, because then the stock just reversed and went back up past my entry. So that was sort of the play of the day, if you will. But I did break my rule. The only thing is I did break it for a very specific reason. I've been watching this for 12:05, 12:35, so like half an hour I've been watching this. And then so I felt pretty comfortable that if it did break that, it would drop, and that is exactly what it did. So 218 minus $65, decent. I'm going to continue this trend of trying to play small and seeing, just for myself, seeing how much I can average in a day. And then one of the reasons too why I started to work again is I want to collect more money in order to do more of this swing and long-term investment, simply because the market is not doing well right now. I anticipate it to continue to do poorly in the future. So for my own personal reasons, I would like to have more cash on hand for these types of longer term investments, to pick up some stocks on the cheap. So that's what I do for myself. And that's the reason why. So hopefully I can record more, but it all really depends on my work schedule. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.